Competitive energy.
Competitiveness.
All right, so you and Diddy, you and Puff cool?
No, I don't really rock with him
okay,
like that.
damn. All right, I didn't know what that meant.
Okay.
Then. All right, okay.
Jay-Z's assault accuser has now admitted on tape that he never touched her. According to the leaked recording, she told investigators, "He was just there. He didn't do anything." Many assumed the controversy was over when the case collapsed. Instead of walking away, however, Jay-Z escalated the situation, filing a $20 million lawsuit against the accuser. At the same time, allegations surfaced that her own lawyer may have pressured her to lie. Yet Jay-Z's legal team is not backing down. Sources claim the battle has shifted beyond the courtroom, targeting not only the accuser, but also those amplifying her recanted statements. One of the loudest voices is 50 Cent, who posted, then quickly deleted, an AI-generated video showing Jay-Z in handcuffs with the caption, "I want to post this, but I'm afraid I'm going to get shot." Too late. The clip spread instantly. Meanwhile, the fallout continues. The $20 million lawsuit seeks substantial damages. His reported Super Bowl partnership hangs in uncertainty. Beyoncé's team is set to be quietly scrubbing mentions from press materials. Adding to the tension, attorney Tony Busby, who represents multiple accusers in Diddy's legal battles, called the allegations against Jay-Z a blatant lie. Jay-Z's lawyer Alex Spiro fired back, insisting the recording speaks for itself. But critics are asking, if he's innocent, why pursue aggressive legal action instead of letting the tape clear his name? Because, according to insiders, the recording isn't the real concern. It's what could come next. 50 Cent isn't just trolling. Reports suggest he's compiling footage for a documentary his team plans to release ahead of Diddy's upcoming trial. Sources even claim Jay-Z's attorneys have discussed 8-figure settlements to prevent certain projects from moving forward. For some observers, that doesn't look like the strategy of someone confident the storm has passed.
Don't trust nobody. In Hollywood, specifically, when you get there, a lot of people don't know how to say no. That's the difference between New York City and California.
The moment the recording surfaced, in which Jane Doe admitted Jay-Z never touched her, his team could have allowed the issue to fade. Instead, in late December, they filed a $20 million defamation lawsuit against both the accuser and her attorney, Tony Busby. Notably, Busby is the same lawyer representing several women connected to Diddy's ongoing legal troubles. That overlap has raised eyebrows. The lawsuit claims that false allegations cost Jay-Z's company, Roc Nation, contracts worth approximately $20 million annually, a figure so specific that some critics argue the move was less about justice and more about deterrence. But questions remain. If the allegations were fabricated, why did Jane Doe initially stand by her claims in a sworn declaration before withdrawing the case with prejudice, meaning she can never refile it? Her explanation was that she feared backlash from Jay-Z's fans and intimidation from his legal team. Rather than ending the controversy, that statement intensified it.
So what happens now is this is simply a civil complaint. And in a civil complaint, it goes through the technical legal process. Now, the distinction, Jessica, between civil and criminal, of course, is that civil is for monetary damages, right? The system can only reward you with money. There's allegations that this 13-year-old is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, suffered depression, etc. So now you go to fact-finding, right?
Industry whispers suggest that the real target may not be Jane Doe at all, but Tony Busby. He is not an unknown figure. Busby previously secured a settlement for Cassie Ventura in her abuse case against Diddy, and he currently represents multiple women expected to testify in Diddy's upcoming trial. Some insiders speculate that Jay-Z's lawsuit is less about clearing his own name and more about undermining Busby's credibility before the trial begins. A proceeding expected to feature testimony about parties, punishments, and what accusers describe as a culture of silence within elite hip-hop circles. That's where the narrative becomes more complicated. If Jay-Z had no involvement in those environments, critics ask, why does his name appear in related legal filings? Why respond so aggressively to a case that was already unraveling? And why did his attorney Alex Spiro tell ABC News that the tape speaks for itself, while simultaneously suing the woman heard on that same tape? Those contradictions are what continue to fuel the conversation. And as the next trial approaches, many believe this story is far from finished.
They don't want, if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make up their brand. That's why a lot of those rappers...
The answers may lie in what happened next. On December 10th, while the lawsuit was still dominating headlines, 50 Cent posted an AI-generated video on Instagram. The clip showed Jay-Z, dressed in a tuxedo at a party, suddenly being handcuffed and led away by officers. The caption read, "I want to post this, but I'm afraid I'm going to get shot," followed by a laughing emoji. He deleted it within hours, but not before it spread across Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube, racking up millions of views. That's when Jay-Z's team reportedly made its first move. Phone calls to 50 Cent's camp demanding he stop. Instead of backing down, 50 Cent doubled down. Days later, he posted a distorted image of Jay-Z depicted as a camel with the caption, "Please stop sending me stuff like this. I'm not going to post it." Then he posted it anyway. The message was clear. This wasn't casual trolling, it looked like escalation. And this is where the questions begin. 50 Cent isn't just a random critic. He has a documented history of turning rap feuds into business ventures and media moments. Now he's teasing a documentary that he claims will expose not only Jay-Z, but what he describes as a broader system protecting powerful figures. Sources close to the situation say the project is already in post-production. The team is reportedly examining everything from the drop lawsuit to Jay-Z's past associations with Diddy, whose legal troubles have also brought public attention to figures like Beyoncé and LeBron James. But here's the part raising eyebrows. If 50 Cent doesn't have substantial evidence, why would Jay-Z's team allegedly consider 8-figure settlements to halt the project before release? That's not typically how a bluff is handled. That's how a perceived threat is addressed. Meanwhile, as Jay-Z's attorneys issue cease and desist letters, 50 Cent is said to be compiling footage, interviews, and what insiders describe as receipts that extend beyond the assault allegation. Those who claim to have seen early cuts say the documentary connects Jay-Z not only to the dismissed case, but to a broader culture of impunity surrounding Diddy's circle. A culture that, until recently, included some of the most powerful figures in music. And then there's the Super Bowl. Since 2019, Jay-Z's Roc Nation has partnered with the NFL on the halftime show. A deal reportedly worth hundreds of millions and up for renewal next year. After 50 Cent publicly asked, "Are we still having the Super Bowl?" In a since-deleted post, industry observers suggested the league may be watching closely. If the documentary drops before the next big game, and contains even a fraction of what's being implied, the NFL, an organization known for protecting its brand, could view Jay-Z as more liability than asset.
Interestingly, we haven't seen the indictments yet. There's been some time lag. I suppose it will take some time to go through all the forensic, evidence.
But the real tension may not be about the Super Bowl. It's about what happens when you start pulling at a thread. When Jay-Z's team began threatening legal action, 50 Cent didn't retreat. Instead, he posted throwback photos of Jay-Z and Diddy together, captioned, "Friends till the end. Jay, you still there?" That's more than a joke, it's a signal. And the question many are asking is this. If Jay-Z had no connection to Diddy's alleged misconduct, why respond as if caught in the crossfire? The recording was supposed to end the controversy. The lawsuit was supposed to bury it. But based on 50 Cent's actions, neither appears to have been the true endpoint. Then came another twist, the Epstein files. In early February, newly unsealed documents from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation included a single mention of Jay-Z in connection to a 1996 tip involving Harvey Weinstein. There were no charges and no corroboration, just a name in a file. Most outlets dismissed it as insignificant. 50 Cent did not. Within hours of the document surfacing, he announced that his documentary would include a deep dive into what he called Jay-Z's missing years. The late 1990s period when he was rising in the industry, but not yet widely known outside New York. Supporters argue that the real issue isn't what Jay-Z did. It's what he may have seen, who he knew, and what connections were formed during those years.
There's a lot of people, 50, I feel like he don't have to say nothing, but 50's crazy. He's been like this his whole life. When he's on the block, oh shit, 50's coming.
Critics say the issue isn't any single allegation. It's the pattern. First, the assault case that unraveled. Then the AI meme that shouldn't have mattered, but did. Now, a minor mention in the Epstein files that few focused on, except the one person digging deeper, 50 Cent. And then there are the whispers about Beyoncé. Insiders claim she has been closely monitoring developments, not necessarily out of concern for her husband's innocence, but to see whether her own name could surface in Diddy's trial. If it did, some argue, the carefully crafted image of the Carters as music royalty could face serious damage. According to observers, that possibility has changed how Jay-Z's team is operating. Because this is no longer about one lawsuit, one meme, or one documentary. For the first time in decades, some say the man known for controlling the narrative may no longer be fully in control. Then there's the 2014 elevator incident. That year, Solange Knowles physically confronted Jay-Z in a Met Gala elevator. A moment caught on security footage that was never fully explained. The official statement described it as a private family matter, but speculation has lingered. Now, with renewed scrutiny and 50 Cent revisiting past associations between Jay-Z and Diddy, rumors have resurfaced about a possible tell-all from Solange, one that, insiders claim, would go beyond rumors of infidelity. They suggest it could involve knowledge from years when Jay-Z and Diddy's circles overlapped in ways that were never meant to become public. Whether that's speculation or something more remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. This story isn't fading. It's evolving.
How do you know I'm not a gangster? Or used to be a gangster? I've been in the music industry for 30 years.
Yeah, the industry's filled with gangsters.
Here's what's being said behind closed doors. Some insiders claim Solange Knowles' silence was never just about loyalty to her sister. It was about an understanding. According to speculation, Beyoncé allegedly convinced her to remain quiet to protect the family's image, an agreement that may have had limits. The rumor suggests that if Beyoncé ever chose to walk away, Solange would be free to speak openly. Now, with Jay-Z's name tied to lawsuits, AI memes, and a documentary that could be released at any moment, sources close to the situation claim Beyoncé is reassessing everything. Because this isn't only about Jay-Z's reputation, it's about hers. The woman who built an empire on flawless branding doesn't just fear scandal. She fears being blindsided. That's why whispers about her closely monitoring daily news updates aren't just about Diddy's trial. They're about what could happen if Solange decides the time to speak has arrived. Then there's the money. Jay-Z's net worth is estimated at $2.5 billion, built on music, business ventures, beverage deals, and his partnership with the NFL. But the true value isn't just financial, it's reputational. Roc Nation's brand is built on the image of Jay-Z as the self-made billionaire who transcended hip-hop. But what happens if that image begins to crack? What happens when the man who branded himself as the ultimate survivor starts appearing in legal filings and controversy headlines? Industry observers suggest the NFL is quietly exploring contingency plans in case 50 Cent's documentary forces difficult decisions. If Jay-Z were publicly linked to the alleged culture of silence surrounding Diddy, the league wouldn't simply distance itself. It could erase the partnership entirely. That possibility may explain why his team is reportedly moving aggressively behind the scenes. Cease and desist letters, rumored 8-figure settlement discussions, even threats of legal action against 50 Cent's production company. Supporters of this theory argue it's not about justice, it's about buying time. But the problem is, the storm doesn't appear to be fading, because 50 Cent isn't just targeting Jay-Z. He's questioning the broader infrastructure that, critics claim, protects powerful figures. That brings the Epstein files back into focus. The mention of Jay-Z in those documents may have remained a footnote, until 50 Cent began asking why someone relatively unknown in 1996 would appear in proximity to a situation involving Harvey Weinstein. According to those who claim to have seen early cuts of the documentary, the implication isn't direct involvement, it's presence. And in circles like those surrounding Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein, critics argue that being present often meant more than simply observing. Not necessarily committing wrongdoing, but knowing, benefiting, and remaining silent. That type of implication doesn't disappear with a lawsuit or a deleted meme. And this is where Beyoncé becomes central to the conversation. If Solange were ever to speak, it wouldn't just affect Jay-Z's past. It could raise questions about whether Beyoncé helped maintain silence to preserve the empire they built together. The Lemonade era transformed personal betrayal into art. But what happens if the betrayal isn't only personal? If it's systemic? According to insiders, 50 Cent's project may examine not only Jay-Z, but the entire Carter empire, and how it has weathered scandals through strategic messaging and carefully managed narratives. That's what reportedly worries Jay-Z's team the most. You can sue an accuser. You can threaten a rival. But you can't control a partner who decides the cost of staying is too high.
I think you gotta be a little crazy to be successful.
Right.
And that's what 50 is. 50's really crazy. He'll say I'm crazy, but he's crazy.
Right.
Timing may be the most critical factor. Diddy's trial begins in May. The Super Bowl takes place in February. 50 Cent's documentary could be released at any point between now and then. That isn't random. It's a countdown. If the documentary drops before the Super Bowl, the NFL faces immediate pressure. If it drops before Diddy's trial, prosecutors may face renewed media scrutiny. If it drops afterward, it lands in an environment already primed for fallout. Jay-Z's team appears to understand this. Observers say the legal warnings aren't directed only at 50 Cent, but at anyone considering speaking publicly. The message, critics claim, is simple. Cross this line and there will be consequences. But there's something they may be overlooking. 50 Cent has built a career on surviving industry conflicts. This time, supporters say he isn't fighting for attention, he's fighting for legacy. And there's an even deeper layer. This isn't just about Jay-Z versus 50 Cent. It's about who controls the narrative within hip-hop. For years, the industry has operated under an unspoken rule. Reach a certain level of power, and you become untouchable. But what happens when the untouchables start falling? Harvey Weinstein is in prison. Diddy faces trial. Now Jay-Z's name is circulating in similar conversations. The difference is that Jay-Z has historically navigated controversy with precision. He turned past struggles into branding, setbacks into comebacks, and rivals into footnotes. But this time, the challenge isn't another rapper or industry competitor. It's 50 Cent, a figure who has spent years building a media platform centered on exposing powerful figures and hidden narratives. And that's why the real battle may not unfold in a courtroom. It may unfold in an editing suite, where 50 Cent's team is reportedly finalizing a project that could reshape the story of one of hip-hop's most powerful couples. Whether it changes anything remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. The narrative is no longer fully controlled by one side.
Paying attention to the music to understand that there's a problem getting ready to take place.
Are you and Game, you think your relationship is repairable?
I don't know what really caused it, Big. So, I'm not...
The final piece of this story isn't what's being said. It's what isn't. Beyoncé hasn't spoken. Solange hasn't either. But their silence isn't neutral. Feels strategic. Right now, the only people speaking out are the ones with nothing left to lose. And that alone says a lot. The lawsuits, the memes, the rumored documentary, none of those are the real story. The real story is how the most powerful woman in music is watching all of this unfold and quietly making her own calculations. Because if Beyoncé decides that Jay-Z has become more of a liability than an asset, then the documentary won't matter at all. The marriage could end, the brand could collapse, and the man who built his empire on controlling the narrative could suddenly become a cautionary tale instead of a mogul. That possibility is what makes the silence so loud.
But I've liked Jay-Z a great deal. I've never liked, there are people who do things because they know they can, and it had that bully mentality. There are people that do things that know they can. And here's the thing, it isn't whether you believe that Diddy did it or not, it's the silence from the people who work with him.
So here's where things stand. A lawsuit that was dropped, yet refuses to disappear. A documentary that may or may not exist. A trial months away that is already casting a long shadow. And a marriage that has survived storms before but never one like this. The leaked recording was the first domino. The AI meme was the second. The Epstein files were the third. Now the question isn't whether more dominoes will fall. It's how far the collapse will reach. Jay-Z's team can threaten, sue, negotiate settlements, and attempt to contain the fallout the way they've done before. But this time feels different. The genie isn't going back into the bottle. Not when the man behind the camera has allegedly been waiting for this moment. Not when women who once stayed silent might decide it's finally time to speak. And not when the industry that protected powerful men for decades is beginning to realize the rules may have changed.
What's the first sucker move that he pulled in your opinion?
Wow, I got a string of them, but look at me in my face, right? During my trial, look at me in my face telling me, yo, don't worry about it, bro. I got you. And I never see him again.
So once again, here we are. A dropped lawsuit that refuses to stay buried. A documentary hanging over everything like a ticking clock. A looming trial. And a marriage facing its most public test yet. The recording sparked the fire. The AI meme fueled it. The Epstein files intensified it. Now the real question isn't whether this ends. It's who it takes down when it does. Jay-Z's team can continue issuing threats. They can pursue lawsuits. They can attempt to shut things down behind the scenes. But damage, once done, rarely disappears completely. And that leaves the questions no one is answering. How much did Beyoncé really know? Is Solange sitting on a story that could change everything? Is 50 Cent's documentary real? Or is the threat of it powerful enough on its own? When Diddy's trial begins in May, will Jay-Z's name surface in court? Or will it remain carefully shielded? One thing is certain. This won't end with a simple settlement or a deleted post. Someone's empire could fall. The only question is whose. So what do you think? Is Jay-Z still one move ahead? Or is this the moment everything unravels? And if Beyoncé walks away, does the empire collapse? Or was she the one holding it together all along? Drop your theories in the comments. This story isn't over yet. Stay tuned.